A Dennis Praet cross turned in by into his own goal by defender Robin Koch. It was a great piece of play by the referee, who waved on an advantage after Jamie Vardy was fouled. Dewsbury Hall picked up the pieces. He fed the ball out to Praet, and the rest led to Leicester's first goal 16 minutes in. Leeds did hit the bar through Luis Sinestra, but Leicester got the second 10 minutes before half-time. A flowing move, one-touch football down the right between Castagna, Tillemans and Praet. It was a back heel from Vardy into Dewsbury Hall, centre of the 18-yard area, touched onto Harvey Barnes, sprinting down the left, and a cool finish between the legs of Leeds goalkeeper Ilan Millier to continue his great run against Leeds. 5 Premier League games, 5 Premier League goals. More importantly, this evening for Leicester, another 3 points gained here at King Power Stadium, beating Leeds United by 2-0. Watching on throughout, Jerry Taggart. Another pleasing night here on home turf for the Foxes. Jerry, what did you make of the evening overall?
Yeah, you know, that's a great result and a really good performance as well. You know, Leeds came here. I thought Leeds started the better team, in all fairness to them, but you know, Leicester in that attacking third looked slick at times, and in particular, you know, with Dennis Praet on that right-hand side, linking up with Tillemans and Castagna. And I thought that was the difference tonight, that right-hand side for Leicester City. Obviously, Harvey Barnes with a second goal from the left. But, you know, a good, solid performance. Again, Faes and Amati look solid. Danny Ward looks solid in goal. James Justin, I think that's the best I've seen him play this season. So, yeah, you know, really good, solid performance. And in the end, deserved the win. Got what they deserved tonight.
Good performances means a short list of man of the match candidates. Who pips it for you in the end?
Well, I know, again, you know, you got James Justin, I thought was, as I said, excellent. Keenan Dewsbury Hall, I mean, just run himself into the ground tonight. Excellent work from him. Walt Faes again looks solid at the back, barring 1 or 2 incidents in the first half, and it looks really accomplished. Buba Samari, I thought, again, excellent play from him. You know, as accomplished as the performances I've seen from him, but one man stands out for me, and that's that man who's come in tonight. I think it's only his second game this season.
Second start
this season, and I think he was the difference, especially in the first half when both goals were scored. He had an assist for the first goal, and it was an integral sliding touch to get the ball to Jamie Vardy for the second, but all leading down that right-hand side, you know, was immense for Leicester City, and that's Dennis Praet. I thought he was brilliant.
Plenty more analysis on the way of this one on LCFC Radio. Full-time score from King Power Stadium: Leicester 2, Leeds 0.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, absolutely fantastic evening here at King Power Stadium, and a really big 3 points for Leicester City. Matt Elliott has been watching alongside me in the press box, and we've been very pleased, haven't we, with that performance, in particular the second half, just keeping Leeds at bay.
Yeah, probably the first half more, to be honest, you know, with the goals going in. But yeah, there were different types of performances, weren't they? You know, first from the second half, but both very satisfactory. And I think certainly up until the latter stages, Leicester only actually had one shot on target. Of course, you know, the own goal being the first goal, which surprised me because that stats, you know, Leeds had more shots on target, etc. But that almost like belied the reality of what was going on out there. Leeds threatened at times, and you know, a couple of different periods, didn't they? Midway through the first, and sort of a third of a way through the second. You know, there was a little bit of uneasiness, but you expect that. You know, Leicester are where they are for a reason. You're a little bit short on confidence, etc. And we know what Leeds can offer at times. But I thought over the course of the game, generally, the right team won, and relatively comfortably, although the stats don't back that up. But yeah, they managed the game pretty well, as they say these days, didn't they? And second half was, I mean, me and you spoke about it. I prefer to see teams going finish it off rather than see it out, as I said. But Leicester did just see it out, pretty much. But they were comfortable doing it. Never felt ill at ease, and yeah, that's a good sign. That's a good sign, because Leeds have got plenty of individuals who can threaten, but they weren't allowed to too often tonight.
Yeah, if you just look at the right-hand side of the screen there, Leicester off the bottom of the Premier League table. Big game, of course, up against Wolves on Sunday. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We've got 20 minutes or so to assess this victory, though. Ewan Robertson, it was a big night for Leicester. You said before the game how much of a big evening it was, and the players have well and truly delivered.
And I didn't really want to say it before the game started, but you don't want to add pressure to an already massive game. But I thought it was must-win. I really, really did. Even this early in the season, I thought it was a must-win game for Leicester. Bottom of the league, 1 win in 10. Need something to kickstart the season, to get everybody going. And it was a comfortable win in the end. I think Leeds huffed and puffed in that second half. They made some changes. They went 2 up front. I can only ever remember Danny Ward, I think, having one real shot to save, and it was early in the second half from Liam Cooper, who came on. It's a shame that we couldn't go on and get that second goal, just to make that second half a bit more of a procession. But it's such an important win. I mean, you've shown the table there, off the bottom of the Premier League. Now just 5 points behind Bournemouth and Palace, who I think are 12th and 13th. So
3 points off 13th, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a huge win. It really is a huge win, and I'm delighted for the club. I'm delighted for the players. I'm delighted for the supporters. It's been a frustrating season. We all know that. But I think most of all, I'm delighted for the manager, Brendan Rodgers, because there's a lot been said. He's got his head down. He's worked hard. He's answered all the questions, and his players have gone out tonight and performed for him, and won a valuable 3 points.
Yeah, I think we said, Jerry, after the Forest game, is that the type of result that you look back on at the end of the season and say maybe that was a bit of a turning point? Obviously, there have been a couple of disappointing results since then, but tonight again could be massive in terms of confidence. That's 3 clean sheets on the bounce at home here at King Power Stadium.
Yeah, and the next game's away from home, where obviously that's where all the issues have been in recent times. So hopefully, they can bring that home form, into their away games as well. That is going to be the key. A tough game against Wolves, who have sort of, they haven't got themselves going that much iller this season, but it'll be a tough game at Molineux on Sunday. So I think the key for Brendan is trying to emulate that form, that steeliness that we've seen tonight when they go away from home, because obviously the last away game was at Bournemouth, and again you analyse the goals and they were just a bit soft really, and that was straight after that game against Nottingham Forest. So you're hoping that the penny has dropped, and again you're listening to the lads, and obviously I'm commenting on the game. They look pretty solid in that second half and throughout. Barring one or two really good slick bits of play from Leeds in that first half, where they probably should have done better. I thought Leeds were impressive in that first half, and Leicester were not at 6s and 7s, but they were struggling to cope with the forward play at times of Leeds. But they got through it. Second half looked a lot more solid, looked a lot more assured, but that's what they've got to bring in, that defensive solidity. We're no good to score goals away from home as well as at home. It's about not conceding. Yeah,
speaking of defensive solidity, Jerry, Leicester, obviously the official club account at LCFC has tweeted out asking fans for their man of the match, and quite resoundingly, as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, those that are watching, Wout Faes, 55% of the vote, Harvey Barnes 25%, Dennis Praet 15%, but really a resounding victory, Jerry, for Wout Faes, and he has come in and he has provided that resolution at the back, hasn't he? He's been really strong, and yet again tonight he looks really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all about doing the basics well. It's all about knowing what your job is as a defender, and he does it well. You know, he does the basics well. He gets around, he covers, he reads the game. He's on the front foot defending when straight balls are coming in. Exactly. We've seen James Justin at it tonight, on the front foot when straight balls are being played into the forward players. Yeah, and he looks good. He looks assured. We know he can pass the ball. But for me, I'm always looking at his defensive qualities. And tonight, yet again, you know, he looks like a player who's fitted right in, knows exactly what he's doing on the pitch when he's defending. And the other players around him react to that, which is even better. You know, they take confidence in what they see him doing.
Yeah, it's been great actually seeing Wout Faes, particularly at home. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. That's 3 games he's played at home, 3 clean sheets.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it bodes well, doesn't it? I mean,
he's clearly come in and made a difference.
Yeah, no. Well, Joe just said there, and I was just thinking exactly the same. He looks like he knows what he's doing. It looks natural to him. Looks comfortable. It's not an effort. He's not making it up as he goes along. Good decision making, good positional sense, majority of the time. 1 or 2 blips, but you're going to. That happens to any player, but especially when you're bedding yourself in. Against Bournemouth, little costly mistake, but you know that's not the norm with him. That's an irregularity. He just looks a good footballer, doesn't he? You know, he oozes confidence in a nice way. You know, he's got a good way about him. He's got good character, good personality. Brendan Rodgers speaking before the game about his leadership qualities. You know, both verbal but also leading by example. Really, the way he goes and plays the game. Nice and strong, positive, aggressive when it needs to be. He's got many attributes. Without going overboard, it's relatively early days, but you know he's done a good job in helping to steady the ship for sure.
We've got plenty of individuals that we need to speak about after this game, Ewan, don't we? But one in particular, another one really, Danny Ward. I know we heard from him before the game, didn't we? We spoke about him, you spoke about him. How pleased are you for him that he's kept another clean sheet and made some really good saves this evening?
I'm chuffed to bits for Danny. I really am. You know, as we spoke before the game, Dan, he's had to be patient for a long time at Leicester. Yeah, he had a top class keeper in front of him. He's had to be understudy to one of the best Premier League keepers in Kasper Schmeichel. He's been given a chance. It was a tough baptism of fire for him. You know, he made a couple of errors. Took some risks, and I think that's the big thing that I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 games with Danny. He's not trying to overcomplicate it when he's trying to play out the back. If it's there to put his foot through and clear his lines, that's what he's doing. You know, he's getting up towards the halfway line. He's not trying these risky passes as we saw. I think it was Brighton away where he had that falling out with Ndidi, which we were talking about before. He's not taking risks, trying to play out the back, and he's always been a really good shot stopper. You know, he's always been top class at that. Didn't really do put a foot wrong or a hand wrong tonight. Everything that he came for, he gathered. Wasn't called into action on too many occasions from Leeds. But yeah, you know, 3 clean sheets at home. I'm chuffed to bits for him. Let's just hope and cross our fingers that he can go to Molineux now and keep his first away from home for Leicester City.
Yeah, it obviously it's a big game, isn't it, on Sunday? I know that you'll be going to it, covering it on co-commentary duty. So if they can back this up with a performance there, would a point be good there, do you think now?
Point would suffice, but you always want more, don't you?
And presumably they'll be full of confidence after tonight.
Yeah, listen, it depends on the game. Leicester, you could end up disappointed with a point if you play well and dominate. But no, I think Leicester within their rights, more than within their rights, to go to Molineux and certainly feel that they're capable of getting the win. Just because it's a way they can't develop this phobia, because that will cause them problems. They can't be totally reliant on picking up points at home. Leicester have that capability, don't they? They can play different ways. Sometimes on the break, although Wolves are quite a cagey side, aren't they? They don't leave themselves exposed too often. Leicester, just as adept, if not more so, on the break than they are at breaking down defences. So, you know, you can be slightly sort of misleading, really, why they pick up more points at home, obviously than the supporters' advantage, etc. But playing deep and playing on the break actually suits Leicester's players, you would imagine. But they can play either way, really. And listen, there's going to be a huge boost of confidence tonight, without a doubt. And then looking at the table, they're thinking Wolves. What will Wolves be? The 1 point ahead, is it, come the weekend? You know, the chance to, as you mentioned there, the chance to go in and around the teams in the mid-table. You know, what an incentive. And go and back it up. And, you know, two wins on the trot, back-to-back, is a surprisingly rare thing for a number of teams in the Premier League, but hugely important and hugely effective as well. Not just in terms of the points tally, but also the general boost, etc. You know, go there, be composed, be professional, know that they have the capability, and go there and, you know, be expectant. And they've got quite right to do so.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see it when it rolls around again on the screen on that right-hand side. But a win puts Leicester level with West Ham in 13th place. There's 3 teams all on 9 points, obviously 1 point above Leicester, which includes Wolves.
Listen, you don't want to be getting ahead of yourself, etc. But, you know, it's ifs, buts and maybes, but distinct possibilities. And that's what you've got to be positive. Brendan Rodgers is talking about, you know, he's looking forward. He's not sort of treating it at this moment in time as if they're in a dogfight relegation war just yet. But, you know, you've got to be wary of the situation. Of course he is, but, you know, you're looking forward for the likes of those teams you just spoke about. You know, Bournemouth is attainable to catch, make up the difference and catch them. And everyone's been saying how well Bournemouth have done. The 8-match unbeaten streak, wasn't it, up until the weekend? So, you know, it's still very early days. The differences are minimal, but a little run together, totally different complexion. So it's important that, you know, people don't jump the gun a little bit, haven't been getting too carried away. But also in terms of, okay, Leicester won tonight, they've got to go and back it up. That's hugely important. They didn't do against Forest. With Forest against Bournemouth. They need to do it this time round.
Yeah, I think I asked you, Jerry, after I can't remember what game it was, but maybe at the weekend said it's quite good if results maybe haven't gone your way, that there's a game 3 days away. In this case, Leicester, obviously the result has gone well. There's a game 3 days away, so it is about backing that one up now and following it up again, of course, on Sunday.
Yeah, you have to you know, take positive results, and when you get those positive results, you have to rumble them as far as it can take you. Because if you don't, then you're back to square one come Monday morning. And then you're looking ahead to the game against Man City, full of trepidation again. So you have to, that momentum that you've gained from tonight's result and performance, you have to run with it on Sunday, because you're playing against a team that are in and around you, are down near the bottom, are down on a similar amount of points for a similar reason why you are. But you've got your tails up now. You're going into that game with your tails up, so you have to run with it and you have to back it up. There's no more excuses. You know, it was the same against Bournemouth. They didn't do it. Okay, there was a few mistakes made. Look solid tonight. Leeds had a couple of chances in the first half that they didn't take. All right. But for the most part, you know, Leicester looked pretty solid. For me, it's not about scoring goals, Dan. It's about keeping clean sheets or not conceding more than one goal. That's where the issue is. And that's what they have to put right on Sunday. When it's going gets tough, the tough get going. And Leicester have to get going on Sunday when it gets tough and not crumble like we've seen in the past away from home. And this is a game where they'll have an opportunity to get going when it gets tough.
Didn't know where you were going with that, Jerry. If we're going to get one more in, but one player that certainly got going tonight was Dennis Praet. You gave him your man of the match, didn't you, this evening? And he was fantastic. Probably would have stayed on for the full 90, but he's not had that much football, has he? So Brendan was maybe protecting him a little bit, but in the 65 minutes or so that he played, he was really good on that right-hand side.
Excellent. That right-hand side was the most potent side tonight. I know Harvey Barnes scored, and probably in the second half we'll see more down the left, but You know, both goals came from that side of the pitch initially. It's as simple, and he was integral to both goals. That sliding challenge that he went in for to get the ball to Jamie Vardy, absolutely vital. And then the overload is on the left-hand side. If he doesn't win that ball, the move's dead. There's no overload. So that was vital, and then obviously he puts the ball into the box for the first goal as well. But all night he gave that fullback Firpo, he gave him the runaround. Didn't know how to handle him whatsoever. So for me, he has to have it, because he's, you know, to say he's come in, he's not had a lot of football this season, and he's run himself in the ground, and he looked accomplished, and he looked as if he knew what he was doing out in that right hand side, which is probably not a natural position for him.
Well, it's a case of no Maddison, no problem, really, this evening.
I was just going to say to Jerry there, it was intelligent play, wasn't it, that decision tags with Praet there, because he realised the ball was too heavy for him to challenge and get the ball under control.
Yeah.
But he thought, hang on, how can I be effective there? He might have seen Vardy at the corner of his eye and thought, maybe if I make this challenge I can flick it to him. Maybe not. But whichever way, he took the difficult option, but it proved to be ultimately effective, because he could have let Firpo just take the ball out wide, and he tracks him and probably fouls him and brings him down, be lazy, like a lot of wide players would do. But he's preempted the situation. He's, you know, grasped the nettle and forced that, and off the back of it, secured the points pretty much for Leicester, didn't it?
Yeah, he was impressive, Ewan, wasn't he? And there was a lot of talk. There was talk even in the studio, wasn't there, how Leicester would react without James Maddison, who's clearly been the best player this season, but they certainly did do well without him.
Yeah, and especially Dennis Praet, was he only starting his second game of the season? I think that I'm not too sure. I mean, people thought that he went out on loan to Torino last year, probably thought didn't have much of a future at the football, but he's another one that's had to be patient, and I thought he was outstanding. He's the one that starts the move for the first goal. I think he puts the midfielder Rocker under pressure. I mean, the referee did ever so well for the first goal. I think he could have blown for the free kick on Jamie Vardy, but he bought himself a couple of seconds, and Dewsbury Hall plays Dennis Praet in, and he's got that little bit of time that he needs. It's a lovely ball across that sort of just outside the 6-yard box, and the big centre half has to put it into his own. I thought he was unlucky with the header in the first half, that it was slightly too far out from that back post. Couldn't quite get enough touches. And for the second goal, which was an absolutely outstanding move, I think he was the catalyst to it all. I think he was very, very good, very, very good.
Yeah, it was his second Premier League start of the season, and his third if you include the game against Stockport County as well. So to come in and do that, and probably when you know the position that you're coming into is that of James Maddison, who has, as we've said, been really good this season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think James gets back into the side straight away. I don't think there's any debate whatsoever about that. But I think when you start with someone like Dennis Praet on that right-hand side, I think it just gives you that better balance when you play that system, because when James is there, he loves to go wandering. He has more of a free role than anything. He's not an out-and-out winger, because I don't think he's got the pace to be an out-and-out winger. And I think he'd even admit that. I think Dennis is an actual winger, and he's got that understanding with his Belgian compatriot Castagna on that right-hand side. I just think there was a better balance. Looked at a more solid unit, if you like, with Dennis Praet on that right-hand side. But as I say, James Maddison walks straight back into the team for me.
Element of fortune, of course, Jerry, in the first goal, wasn't there, being an own goal, but it was forced by that man again, Dennis Praet, wasn't it? And just down to his endeavour and his industry yet again, as we've already been speaking about.
I'm just watching it on the screen now. The ball goes, square ball to the centre half. He slightly miscontrols it. Praet is on it, wins it, gives it to Vardy. He's on the floor, Dennis Praet, when he wins the ball. The first thing he does is he gets up, turns around, spins and runs straight into that channel. Then Vardy gets fouled and Dewsbury Hall plays him in, and it's a lovely way to pass. Cock has no other option. He can't let it go because the keeper can't come for it. There's only one place that ball is going, and that's straight to the feet of Harvey Barnes. So Cock has to try and make a clearance. But because of where he places the ball in between the keeper and Cock, there's no chance. The only place it's going in is in the back of the net. Whether it's Harvey Barnes or Cock. It's a lovely way to pass, lovely way to cross from him. And there's only one place it's going. So yeah, he starts that move off, and then he assists the own goal. So that's great play from Dennis. But that's exactly what Brendan Rodgers does on the training pitch when he wants players to press. But he's up and he's on his back as soon as he wins that ball, even though he's on the ground. First thing he does, he gets up, he spins, and he's in the channel. Fantastic play. Fantastic play. That's why he gets man of the match.
Yes, what we've come to expect really with Dennis Praet. Whenever he has played, he clearly cares, doesn't he? And literally gives 100%. Straight up, as Jerry says there.
Yeah, but he seems a good, honest lad, doesn't he? He's got decent character, strong character as well, because it hasn't always gone his way, as you mentioned. But to me, he's got many, many attributes. Again, we talk about Faes. In his position, Dennis Praet, another one of his attributes is he can play in a number of positions, but he just looks a good natural footballer to me. He looks like a footballer, he moves like one, big sort of powerful legs, and he's got good technique. Not lightning quick, but he's quite mobile, he can be aggressive, he can play a bit. You think he's got a goal in him, he can create one, he can put nice balls in with deliveries. He's got many strings to his bow. But it's almost a little bit jack of all trades, master of none scenario. But yeah, I've always felt, I'm not saying it now on the back of his performance tonight, he's done a great job for the team, and hopefully he will continue to do so, given the opportunities. But it just hasn't quite happened for him, has he? Just waiting for that spark. That couple of times, he scored some decent goals, hasn't he, with quality strikes, and you think, this is your moment. Go on. Just go and cement yourself in. You've made a statement. Go and back it up and follow it through. And hasn't quite happened for him. And he's come up with a sort of lacklustre performance. You're thinking, where's that come from? And he gets pulled off and he gets demoralised. And it's been stop-start for him. But I feel like he's Belgian international. that shows you the quality he's got. But you just feel there's more there for him. I don't know if he needs extra cajoling and support and backing. Off the field of play. He doesn't strike me as that sort of character. Seems confident enough, but something has just been lacking a touch. But he produced things tonight.
Yeah, watching that tackle again for the first was absolutely brilliant from Dennis Praet. And it's an interesting one because after the game Saturday, Ewan, obviously the talk was about James Maddison missing this Leeds game. What would Leicester do? Would they go two up front? How would they change it? Praet came in. I guess the question is, what do they do then heading into the Wolves game with James Maddison potentially coming back? And it would be harsh for Dennis Praet to lose his place after that.
Absolutely would be harsh. And, what's the old saying that you never change a winning side? But I think you have to play James Maddison for what he brings into the side. I mean, someone's going to be harshly done by, but that's why we talk about it. And Brendan Rodgers is the manager. And that's why he gets paid to make big decisions. But if I go back to, probably Leicester's two best players on the night, Faes and Dennis Praet. As you say, both Belgian internationals. I think Roberto Martinez, he was there tonight. I think he was working for the TV station. And what a night to produce that type of performance for the two of them with. National team managers just about to announce their squads for the World Cup, have the two of them with that performance or those performances for Leicester tonight sort of play themselves into the Belgium squad for the World Cup. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, all four Belgians for Leicester. Obviously producing the goods this evening, playing well. So yeah, fantastic result for the Foxes. Thank you very much to Ewan Roberts, to Matt Elliott alongside me here in the studio, and to Jerry, of course, on co-commentary. Well, we can leave you after a great evening and a victory for Leicester City. We'll be back again, of course, on Sunday for that game away at Wolves. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, so do join us from 1 o'clock, where hopefully Leicester can build on that draw on Saturday. The win tonight, can they make it another victory? Well, we'll find out on Sunday. Good night.